God bestows His benevolence and love on all equally, whether they are saints or sinners. But He chooses a few of us, probably due to the good deeds of our ancestors. And somewhere in our many generations, somewhere we also should have done something good, to be chosen by the Lord to know Him while He has been walking with us in the physical form. And He continues to bestow His love on all of us. Thus it was in the year 1963, when our physical mother passed away in the month of September. I had known my mother for 15 years, and my younger brother here had known her not even for 5 years. He was awaiting his 5th birthday in a month's time. Just because he was uncontrollable when he heard that his mother is not going to come back, a cousin of ours took us across to our aunt's place, where we saw Swami's photo first time. The beautiful photo of Swami, I am sure many of you have seen, standing by the riverside, probably Chitravati, black and white, hair blowing like that, very beautiful. So we asked our aunt, why have you got this mommy's photo here? Then she said, Ayyo, mommy illama, it is Swami. So he is Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. And one day I will take you to Puttaparthi. He lives in Puttaparthi. That was in 63. And years went by and we forgot the beautiful photo. In the year 1967-68, when I was doing my first MBBS, again Swami came to us when my father was declared to have had cancer. My father was being operated in a nursing home in Double Road, belonging to a famous surgeon called Dr. Kalappa. The next room was Dr. Bhagavantam, who was then scientific advisor to the Ministry of Defense. He had undergone prostate surgery, and Swami had visited him that day and created Vibhuti for Dr. Bhagavantam. Dr. Kalappa happened to be there, so he also received the Vibhuti, and straight from there he came and told Mr. Tyagaraj, some Sai Baba came to see this Dr. Bhagavantam, and he also created some Vibhuti, why don't you have it? So Swami left another visiting card there for us, but did we run to him? Not yet. So within a few days, the doctor called me aside, being the only medical member in the family. He told me, you already don't have a mother. I'm very sorry to say that your father is also not going to be there, and his time is also limited, and he will not continue to be there for long. And I'm very sorry about that. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't tell the whole family because they will all be immersed in sadness. We had a beautiful joint family. So I went to our anatomy professor and showed him the report. He just looked at it, and those days cancer only meant death. So he looked at it and said, Ayyo, Pava, cancer, so sorry, ma. And that's it. So I was sitting in the class, very sad. A friend of mine, Dr. Purnima Sharnaya, whom we can never forget, for she brought us to the Lord. She told me that, why don't you come to Whitefield? Bhagavan is there, Sathya Sai Baba, and he will protect you. So thus we came to Vrindavan, and I was sitting there. Those days not much rush, but even then there was no guarantee Swami is going to look at you or anything. So I was sitting there near the old Kalyana Mandap. There used to be a tree, sitting around the stone around the tree, and in the wall there was a big rent. So just looking out like that, the side door suddenly opened and Swami came out. Amazing. I can never forget the first darshan of Swami we had in person. My heart told me this is God. Not that we know God otherwise, So the first God we know is also Swami only. So I didn't pray anything. Swami took over. I went home. Whole family was waiting there. Because those days, 7:38 was unheard of for a girl to come home, So the whole family, all uncles, aunts, Other than my father who was ailing, everybody was on the road waiting, what happened, you have not come back. So I went to my father straight and told him, Appa, I went to Whitefield and I saw God. He will protect you. My father said, Podi, unak Swami alla enna theriyum, what do you know about God? Very next day, my father went to office. My father had decided to work till the last minute because we needed that, what he brought home in those days. So with great pain, he used to change 2 and 3 buses and go to Tumkur Road and work there. So when he went to the office, his boss called him and told him, Mr. Tyagaraj, there is a visitor from abroad and he wants to visit some Sai Baba in Whitefield. And I have something else to do, so why don't you go with him? The perk was that you will also be dropped home in the car. It was very good because otherwise he had to change 2-3 buses and he was in Agani those days. So thus he came and thus the Lord took over. And as he entered the portals of Brindavan, Sai Ram Shed was there and he saw Swami returning to the mandir. So he thought, what an unfortunate fellow am I. Already I'm going to orphan my children now. And somebody said, this God is going to protect me, but he also has no mercy for me. He has gone back. Just 2 minutes later, the gates opened again. And the Lord came back and straight to him. For the first time my father has ever put his foot here, he said, Enamma Tyagaraju, cancer ant heludra, nan cancer cancel martini. That's the first. In fact, when Swami spoke first, my father thought it was not to him. He said, Sai Baba doesn't know me, he must be talking to the other person. So when Swami called him Tyagaraj is when he suddenly realized, oh, it's me. And then there was no looking back. Every second of our life has been because of, our very existence has been because of Swami.